What's going on, dancers? This is Jam, bringing you another locking tutorial, and in this video I'm gonna show you guys how to groove in locking. The groove by far is the #1 most important element in locking. In this video I'm gonna show you how to groove in locking, as well as how to get creative with it and apply it to the other moves within the dance. Let's do it!
Jam, jam, here comes the man, hot damn.
So before we jump into this video, I just want to let you know about some brand new locking choreography classes that I have on my website. If you want some more in-depth training and learn how to piece all of the elements and the moves of locking together, then head over to joeythejam.com/classes. Without further ado, let's jump into the groove. All right, so if you've seen any of my other locking videos, you'll know how much I emphasize how important the groove is. All right, the groove is the #1 most important element in locking, and for the most part in all of the street dances. The moves come after the groove, okay? And the way that I like to describe it is the groove is the feeling of the music translated through your body, okay? And you can take all of the moves, right? So if we're in locking, we could point, we can lock, we can roll, and have no feeling in any of those moves. Right? But until we add the groove in that feeling, that's what translates. That's how we can tap into the feeling of the dance and really unify the feeling of the music with the moves as well, okay? So in locking, the type of groove that we use is an up groove, okay? And so the way that I like to teach this is 2 parts, okay? It's a rock motion and a bounce motion. So when we're rocking and bouncing and locking, our rock is going to be a back rock, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm focusing on the back. That is my emphasis. So when I start, I'm gonna start on 1. So if I rock, I'm gonna go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, okay? So all of the whole counts, I'm accenting to the back, okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, okay? Rocking backwards. At the same time, we're also gonna be bouncing up with our legs, okay? So instead of down, right, we're not pushing down with the knees, we're actually gonna be starting on a bend and bouncing up, yeah? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, all right? From the side, it looks like this. I'm here, I'm basically pushing my knees back like this, yeah? And that's what gives me that bounce, right? So I'm bouncing from 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, okay? So with the back rock and the up bounce, we're going to put those things together, okay? So you're basically just gonna do them at the same time. So I'm gonna start from the side so that you can see me clearly. So again, I'm gonna be rocking like this, back with my upper body, right, my chest. I'm gonna be rocking back and bouncing up at the same time, okay? So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, from the front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so those are the basic mechanics on how to groove within locking, right? Using our rocks and our bounces. But there are also many different ways that we can take this simple groove and manipulate it. We can change it and get creative with it. So one thing that you can do is you can go side to side with this groove. So while we're staying back, okay, we're rocking back, bouncing up, we can rock side to side like this, okay? So I'm still keeping that same motion, focusing on this back here, and then all I'm gonna do is tilt my body, right? So with our torso, we can tilt like this, shoulders coming down, side to side, okay? So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, just like that. Another way that we can use this groove within the dance is adding levels to it, okay? So instead of staying just up on our feet and grooving, okay, staying up here, we can also drop down and groove, okay? And this is something that you'll probably use like in a Scooby-Doo, where you're rocking, and then as you come down, you still have that groove in the back, all right? So the way that it works is we're gonna groove up. So say we just go up and down. When I come down, here, this is my and, I'm gonna rock back as I'm down and up. So it would look like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You can also do that side to side as well. Boom, ha, boom, ha, okay? Still keeping that rock back and down. So as I come down, this rocks back, okay? Boom, ha, boom, ha, just like that. Another important element that you can add into this groove is your head. And there's a lot of different character things that we can do with our head and positions that we can rock. But basically you'll be rocking the same way that you would with your body, right? So if I want to just keep it simple, I can rock back with my head like this, right? So, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, yeah? So just pushing it back here. As well as side to side, just like we do with our body. Side, 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 side. And you can also look completely to the other side. Boom, 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 boom. And that's how we can play with our character looks as well. If we want to hit a look, drop it down, look over there. I'm still going to be adding that swoop to it. And it's going to be rocking back. So with the groove, we can also add the head in with the body, side to side, here. Right? Even with levels here. And adding the head adds a lot of character and personality to something really simple where you could, this is great. Having this groove is awesome, right? It's baseline fundamental, but when you add the head and the character with the head, it adds a whole new dimension to your dance and to your groove. So thinking about all the different ways that we can just groove with our levels, with our upper body, with our head. Okay, you can also just get creative in the direction that you want to move your torso. And you can really, there's a lot of different ways that you can get creative, create new angles with your groove, still keeping that rock. So I can be here, boom, 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 right? I can go side to side. I can rock it back this way, right? Twist and turn, all different ways that I can, all different ways that I can think of. So now that we understand the basic groove of locking, I'm going to go over another type of groove that's a little different but goes really well together and is used a lot in this style. And this is the Rocksteady kind of groove, okay? And I've gone over this type of groove in the Rocksteady Leo Walk video, which I'll put in the description. This one is not so much of a rocking back, but more of a side-to-side motion, okay? So there's two different ways that you could do it. One is you can go the same direction with your body, okay? And the other is you can go the opposite, okay? So let me break that down a little bit. Going the same direction, basically what I'm gonna be doing with the hips is the hips are gonna be rocking one direction the entire time, okay? Rock, rock, just like this, okay? Now, with the upper body, it's either gonna go this way or this way. So starting with this way, we groove like this at the same time. So hips are gonna go, and then your upper body is gonna groove up, okay? Boom, 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 okay? So I'm coming up, rocking down, up, rocking down. And my upper body's doing this, ha, side, 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 okay? While my hips are rocking. The other one would be the opposite way, where I would go, instead of going this way, I'm gonna take my body over to the left side, or my left side, and my hip is gonna rock this way. So I can rock here, and here, yeah? So up and down, okay? Boom, boom, boom is the first one, like this, ha, boom. And this still kind of has that little rock motion, but you're more focused on going sideways, side, side, yeah? And then the other one, which is this way, ha, boom, going the opposite direction, okay? Now with these grooves, these type of grooves, you can use with a lot of different steps as well, and they go well with this groove here. So you can transition from here to here. Ha, 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 and up, right? Or here. Ha, boom, boom, ka, and groove. Okay? And the last and one of the most important concepts when it comes to locking is adding in your feet. All right? So locking is a very expressive, very exaggerated dance. A lot of times we're moving around the room, using our space and our environment, so we have to understand how to groove while moving our feet at the same time. And so the most basic version of grooving and using your feet to me would be your pace walk. This is something that I go over in my footwork video that I made, and if you haven't seen that, I'll put a link to it right there. But in that video, we talk about adding this walk with the groove, right? So with our feet, it's kind of like a march, okay? So if I take this little march and I don't have a groove, there's no dance to it, there's no flavor to it, it's just a movement. But as we add this groove to it, then it becomes something even more, right? And I'm still rocking, keeping that rocking motion. So the way it works is we're gonna come up on and you're gonna step on the one, right? Boom. So in locking, a good habit to get into is understanding that when something goes out, everything goes out. When something goes in, everything goes in, okay? And an example of that is with this walk. As I take my step, my whole body is gonna come up, okay? So when I'm in, I'm in. When I'm up, yeah? So the walk would be like this, and 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah? Coming in on and, coming all the way out when I step. And I'm gonna step on the whole counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? That is the most basic version of grooving while moving your feet. So moving on from walking, we can also go into our two steps, which is something that I went over in that footwork video as well. Basically, taking our basic two step, right? In and out, and adding this groove to it, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah? And then you can go in this way, you can go back this way, okay? But the emphasis is how you're going to be using this. So even when I'm starting to mix up my feet, this groove is constant. 1, 2, 3, I'm constantly doing this. So if I keep this going, I can do whatever kind of feet, whatever kind of level I want to do as I continue to have this. And then I can come back here, center, as long as this groove is constantly moving, okay? So if you're new to understanding this type of groove, if you haven't really kind of got it into your body yet, what I suggest is you practice slow first. Really understand how all of all of the elements are being put together, because you have this, right? We have just the rock, we have just the bounce, and if you take it slow and understand how to put these together, then you're gonna be better off learning this groove. So what I recommend is starting slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah? And even doing without music, but really understanding the mechanics of it, the mechanics of how these things go together. Then you can move on to adding feet, okay? Boom, and boom, okay? What I find is difficult a lot of times for newer dancers learning this style is understanding how the feet and the groove and all of those things kind of sit together. So really take your time with it. Really understand this out motion. The concept of everything goes out, everything goes in. Because once you start applying the movements and the elements, you're gonna need to have that habit really drilled into your body so that you can always be in the flow, you always be on the right timing and in the groove. So now, moving on from just the groove, how do we apply the elements to it, okay? So I'm gonna start by just going over certain moves and how the groove fits in with those moves, okay? And the first one is the pace. And I love starting with the pace because the pace is almost a groove in and of itself with this simple hand motion. So the focus should be this groove. The focus should be the body and feeling the music. This is to help you keep that time, okay? But when you're adding this pace, just like I went over in the pace video, which I'll also put a link in the description, when you go out with your hand, everything comes up and out, okay? So the same concept. When you go out, everything goes out. When you go in, everything goes in. So the groove, if I'm just staying here, feet planted, and I'm gonna add this pace, I'm gonna groove with the pace. So this is and 1 and 2 and. So as you see, as my hand goes out, my body goes up. I rock back, I bounce up. When I come in, everything closes in. Boom, 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 okay? Now, same thing with the wrist roll. When you're doing your wrist roll, you're not gonna go opposite of the direction. okay? So I'm not gonna go down and wrist roll up. When I wrist roll, I'm gonna use that groove to pull it up, okay? So when I wrist roll, my groove goes up. When I come down, my body goes down. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? As well with our up lock, okay? This should be kind of obvious, but we're not gonna go down with our up lock. We're gonna come up. So if I'm in this groove here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah? Up, and then I come down with the lock. But this is gonna go with that groove. So there are all these moves that go with that groove. So when you start understanding that groove, you're gonna find how all of these moves kind of sit within the groove and how you can find your flow between each of the elements. So now I'm gonna give you a little freestyle demonstration of me using the groove, and I'm gonna only use the groove. So I'm not gonna use any of the elements. I'm not gonna do any moves. I'm just gonna focus on dancing with the groove. If you can understand how to dance with the groove on its own, then it makes it a lot easier to understand how everything kind of sits together, okay?
Come on.
Thank you so much for checking out this locking tutorial. I really hoped I was able to help you in some way. If you would like to train your groove a little bit more, I actually have a special locking choreography class specifically for this. Go ahead and head over to joeythejam.com/classes for this new class, as well as all the classes I have available. But if you got any value out of the video, please hit that like button for me, and also leave me a comment. Let me know your feedback on this video, as well as any other videos or things you want to learn in the future. As always, shout out to the Drop Dance Studio for hosting this tutorial. Please subscribe to my channel and click that little bell icon so you always get notified when I put out a new video, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!